Let's talk a little bit about Xbox today. I know they're having it's bad news every time they're brought up. It seems like as far as making consoles how we see it today, it looks like they're about done with that. And it mostly looks like they're fixing to push fully PC type gaming and be more software. You know, their software's going everywhere. Halo's now going to the PlayStation. That that's wild. And as an Xbox fan, I'm not just an Xbox fan per se. I love gaming. Hey, I started out way back with the Nintendo. Even went back played a little Atari, but I was around when the original Nintendo came out. And there's always been this mindset of a console war. It was Nintendo and Sega for so long. Who was going to win out? Of course, they were competing with each other. They're trying to make money. Then the PlayStation come in and kind of threw a kink in things. And it looked like Nintendo was going to fall out. Then Sega ends up falling out. Then the PlayStation, Nintendo's going. Then you got this new one. You got the Xbox kind of pushed by Microsoft. And at first, I wasn't really even thinking about it. I was happy with my PlayStation and with my Nintendo games. And then I remember being in college. You kept hearing about Halo. You would hear more about it, and you'd hear people talking about it. They was talking about hooking their Xboxes up. That reminded me of being in high school playing Doom, when we'd have Doom hooked up on multiple computers in our computer lab. And you could see that they were really bringing the computer space into the console world. And the more you kept hearing about it, you couldn't help but be intrigued by the Xbox. And I remember it was sometime around Christmas. I don't remember exactly when it was. I was in college in the early 2000s, between 2000 and 2004, 2005. Somewhere in there, Microsoft had a deal. You could get the Xbox, and it was 3 games. I can't remember the third game, but I do remember it came with Halo and Crimson Skies. Now, everybody wanted to play Halo. I remember getting it. We were blown away. Me and one of my buddies, we were in an apartment. We had an apartment complex. We were in one room, one building in college, and we had 2 good buddies who were in the building beside us. We weren't in the same one, though. And I can remember when Halo come out, we got so caught up in Halo, we actually drilled a hole through the wall of the apartment, through their wall and through our wall, and we ran a cable from each wall into our rooms where we could play together. And now, this was back in the day. Phones weren't huge yet. You had to pay for text messaging and all that type of stuff. It was, after hours, at night is when you had the majority of your time. You could talk on it. You had free minutes at night or whatever. So we had this little intercom thing we bought where we could hit a button. We could talk to each other. But I remember staying up. We got so caught up in the Halo, we would stay up till 3 or 4 every morning playing that game. We fell in love with it. And then Crimson Skies, that is a airplane game, a fighter game. It was amazing. I remember getting caught up in it when we weren't playing Halo. And then later, Ninja Gaiden, or I believe they call it Gaiden. I always said Gaiden growing up. I didn't know how you pronounced it. It came out, and it was kind of the lead up to these hardcore games. I remember how hard it was, and me and my buddies would try to do it. And then Fable came out. Fable was absolutely amazing. This funny RPG where you changed as you grew. Microsoft came in, and now they had the money to throw at it, and they were throwing some money, and they really made some big moves with the Xbox. And a lot of people didn't like it. They said, oh, they got all this money. They can do whatever they want with it. But they were actually doing some really good things as far as connecting the consoles together, having multiple TVs and stuff set up, the multiplayer aspect of it. I know there was other multiplayer games, but boy, they was really, really pushing it. And they were one of the big push when Halo 2 come out later, as far as online play. And I can remember I was already home by then, and I can remember I would go to my dad's house. They had was it DSL internet at that time? They had it. I couldn't get it where I lived. I would take my Xbox and go over there, and I could play my buddies. They had DSL back in college, so I was playing them back and forth. It kept us connected, even though we weren't there with each other, and it really pushed that internet connection and stuff. Now they did get a little ahead of their time. They wanted everything, as things kept going. They wanted it all online and all this stuff. But you got, and a lot of people's down and out on Microsoft, but you got to look and remember, boy, they really made some big moves with the Xbox. Even Call of Duty, I remember playing Call of Duty on it, and it was on the PlayStation stuff too. But just those single player World War II games before Call of Duty blew up. Of course, the internet helped them blow up too. It was just a fun time to be had on the Xbox, and no matter what console you had. So I've always really liked Xbox. I'm glad they jumped in there and brought in some some competition. They had some growing pains. I remember the big Duke controller. It was huge. I didn't really like it, but the Xbox controller has evolved over time. It's my favorite controller. I love it over the PlayStation. Now the Nintendo Pro controller is pretty good, but the Xbox controller is just so good now. So when I started hearing, all this crazy stuff, they're canceling games. It looks like they're slowly getting out of the console race, or their console's going to be really high. From what I understand, their next console is pretty much going to be a souped up computer, but they're going to put it in a box where it looks like a console. You're seeing their handheld. They're teaming up with different people and bringing these handhelds out. It's pretty much a computer, and people's dogging them, but it really hit me. We should have known, Microsoft's always been a computer company. And by the way, Microsoft is a company. They're all about making money. It makes sense if they think, hey, I can go this route and bring in this computer type gaming, and I can start selling my games everywhere, not on my Xbox. If it's a computer, I can put it out there online. I'm sure their stuff will start going to Steam and stuff, or they can start making money there. We can send it on to PlayStation. We send it to Nintendo. They're going to make money that way. And they can continue to they can call them Xboxes, but again, we know they're just going to be a computer. But I'm not going to lie to you. Xbox drew me in. I've always been a console guy because it's so much easier. But they actually drew me into the computer world a little bit. Because I ended up getting some better computers to make this content and stuff. And then I got that Game Pass Ultimate where I could get computer games and on there. And I got to learning a little bit more about the computer world. It is different. There are some zaniness to it from time to time. But the computer world of gaming is pretty fun too. It's easier to stream with some of these computer games. I learned about the world of Steam. I'm telling you folks, if you're a console gamer but you got a computer that's good enough, you need to play with Steam. It's got some amazing games. They have amazing sales on there where you can get stuff super cheap. And it's just awesome to have that collection. And now I'm a physical guy, but as far as Steam, it's nice. You can get some of this older stuff you can't get anywhere else, and you can play it right there. So as far as Xbox goes, I will hate if they don't do these consoles anymore. As far as kind of what we think, I can kind of see it going to computer type things, but it's kind of weird. I've kind of evolved and it don't bother me as much anymore. Good grief, the newest, a PlayStation Pro's like $700. If the Xbox $1,000, it's getting crazy. And it also does show us, the state of consoles. It's kind of getting scary in that they might start pricing people out. That's myself included. I don't want to pay no $1,000 for no console to play a game. It's going to start getting a little weird and getting a little iffy there. But hopefully PlayStation and Nintendo will keep doing it where we can get in the consoles. Always kind of a little bit cheaper way in because PCs were so high. But now PCs are getting to the point you can find sales on Black Friday and other time and jump in. The Steam Deck is an amazing thing. It's a computer. You can put it up on a big monitor, or you can take it where you want to go. So as far as Xbox is concerned, I hate to see if they completely get out of the console type race, but I still look forward to seeing their games because their game's amazing. Now, Halo has kind of fell off. They need to get somebody in there and revamp Halo. Bring Halo back to where it's supposed to be. The remake looks pretty good that I've been seeing, but I heard ain't no multiplayer. Man, they need to go back, remake them multiplayer maps, leave them as close to the same as possible, and just make them look good and let people have it. That'll bring all us old heads back in that started with this thing. And I'm hoping they're doing something like that. I'm wondering if they're trying to make some type of multiplayer thing with all them old maps. But they need to do that and bring the PlayStation people in and the PC people in and the Xbox people in. Hey, there's no reason Halo shouldn't be huge right now. It's too good of a game, and it's too fun. Master Chief's too awesome of a character. Get rid of all these other characters, put Chief back in the forefront and roll with it. Bring Cortana back. I don't care. Maybe they'll redo it and get to 3, and from 3 they'll completely drop them other games and continue the story in a way people want to see it today. But as far as the state of Xbox, it is kind of sad to kind of see where it's going and them canceling games. But I'm hoping they can revamp. It don't bother me that, look, Microsoft's about making money. Sony's about making money. Nintendo's making money. Microsoft just a little different from Sony and Nintendo, which Sony ain't. Sony's got its hands in a lot of other things. Microsoft has always been a big software type company. So it shouldn't surprise you that they're doing stuff like this. Some people's very, very, very mad at them. But to me, if they get in there and they make good games, which I know their last couple ain't been as good, but it looks like they're revamping, I still see it as good for the industry. I think it'll be good. And the PlayStation's good. My only hope is they'll get where their controllers can be on these other consoles. But that's just kind of me, kind of with my thoughts. If you're an old school gamer, Xbox never really was in it until the 2000s. You know, you was gaming since the 80s. Some people since the 70s, and they kind of jumped in. What they did in the time they've been in it, though, to me is amazing. Now, I ain't saying the other consoles wouldn't have done it, but they revolutionized some stuff, especially as far as the internet is concerned. And to be honest, they did some stuff we didn't like. They're part of the reason some of these games are always online and all of this type and all of this stuff and that stuff. But they have bridged almost the PC and the console world. And I personally, it used to be an ugly thing back in the day if it was a console against PC. But I think it's a good thing now. Again, if you ain't played with Steam, you ought to jump in that and get your feet wet. Steam is pretty cool. It actually changed my thoughts on some of this PC stuff. But anyways, that's just kind of my thoughts on the Xbox. I'd love to know some of your thoughts. Tell me some of your memories, things you did right when it came out. And hopefully, let's keep positive about Xbox. Maybe we'll see some great things in the future. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great one.